in my new little corner. Good morning. God is a love. I used to live in Mill Hill, Northwest 7 London, and the old 113 bus was the bus that took us in to central London. I once beat it. I walked in quicker. There's sort of heavy traffic on a Friday morning or something. And I caught up with it at St John's Wood when I can still walk. I got in before the bus. I said, "Oh, hang this for a bunch of monkeys," and I started walking. Anyway, just south of what's called Swiss Cottage, on the wall on the left, sort of blocks of flats behind, going down the Finchley Road, Quinton Kynaston School on the right. God is love was emblazoned in graffiti, as it were. But the curious thing was, that was there for years. No one ever, council or whatever, removed it. Which I thought was rather sweet. Excuse me. Just my old sinuses, I snuffle. Right, God is love. I haven't got the answer, to the suffering in the world. I simply do not have the answer. How can you possibly tell someone, whose relatives have been killed, or who's been stuffed in a Rohingya Muslim camp, or the Uyghurs, or in Yemen? I saw this BBC very good bit of journalism. They target young children, shoot them in the head, kill, bang. The other lot, whoever the other lot are. We're probably providing the rifles to do it. British Aerospace. 10, 12-year-olds, they're sort of an age where they can be useful militarily. 450 were documented. And then there was this little one who'd survived. The BBC journalist was interviewing the parents and so on. And this little one's eyes were just like that. Just terrified. Couldn't go anywhere. Just clung to his daddy's leg. Oh. Well, how do you tell people in those circumstances that God is love? I mean, where are they experiencing the love? I haven't got the answer. I cry. I haven't got the answer. He is love. Why does he allow such suffering? Why do people cause such suffering, for heaven's sake? How could someone take a rifle, aim at the head, because that's a definite killer blow, with these blooming accurate rifles, sniper rifles, 450 documented, 450 human beings shot, killed, murdered. Now, going on now, in the world now. And that's just one thing, for heaven's sake. Ugh. Excuse me. The war in Iraq, a second war. I couldn't stand England. Both Mr. Tony Blair and Mr. George W. Bush got voted back into power by the citizens of their respective countries, British people and American people. I can see it. They're all marvellous. They knew what they'd done. It is now generally accepted, I believe, more widely accepted anyway, that the second war in Iraq was a wrong, if you like, or shall we say evil. The indiscriminate slaughter of countless tens of thousands of innocent human beings, so the West could continue to have its oil. If that man, Mr. Tony Blair, ever comes onto any media outlet, I just leave the room, turn it off, walk out, anything but listen to that evil little man who should be arrested, tried, convicted, and put away for life for crimes against humanity and the pack of the government around him, which includes the Queen. Ha, that's not going to happen either, is it? It was a totally evil war in my lifetime. That's the point. I can speak in the knowledge that it was in my lifetime, and I couldn't stop it, obviously. There were big protests and stuff. There's no point in doing those protests. It sort of just satisfies your own feelings. Well, it's not quite as simple as that. But knowing full well that a protest is just going to be completely ignored. So I don't go on protests. I just don't see the point. I did go once in London and join some protest. Do you think God didn't notice what the West did? The point being, I can speak about it because it was in my lifetime. If I'm right, it's March. I may be getting these dates wrong, but I think it was March the 20th, 2001. I may be wrong on the date, but I can see that man, Mr. George W. Bush, strutting down with the big American flags and buff to the podium saying, "We're going to topple Saddam Hussein." And look at the mess the place is in. And that's just one instance of the West meddling in the world's affairs for oil. The Balfour Declaration, which is 1917, entirely about oil, carving up the Middle East, Palestine, the Holy Land, whatever. I can go on and on and on. So where's the love? That's the point I'm driving at. Well, if the people don't behave with love, God has given us sort of free will. Actually, we don't have free will, in my estimation. This somehow is all preordained, as in verse 16 of Psalm 139, "All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." All this stuff is sort of, how could Isaiah prophesy the coming of Christ 700 years before Christ came? It's impossible, except through the Holy Spirit. Genuinely, I don't know what I'll be doing this afternoon. That's how far I can prophesy about my life. God is love. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg of the wars and fighting, and it's not just men. I mean, Mr. Thatcher, if anything, was worse than the men, quite frankly. This Falklands War was in my lifetime too. I couldn't stand it. The Malvinas, the Falklands, all of that. I think that was 1982, possibly 1983. All the gung-ho blasted. The Sun, gotcha, when they sank the Belgrano. That was 1,500 young men sacrificed on Galtieri's ego trip. Wars are good because it takes the spotlight off your local stuff, Argentina, and, you know, you can rally the people. Go and kill that other lot over there. That was in my lifetime too. I certainly, was in no position to stop it. Yeah, gotcha. The big headline in the Sun newspaper. Gotcha. Brilliant. 1,500 young men dead. Actually, I may be wrong on that figure. I used to know New Edgewood Ben, Tony Benn. Now, he tried to work from within the government, documenting and all these war crimes that Britain is committing now, quite frankly. I mean, the amazing thing is, Mr. Tony Blair's wife, Sherry Blair, who was that actor's daughter, the Alf Garnett one, that awful. Anyway, they brought in this legislation back in, I think, 2001. Crimes against humanity and the like. Right. It goes like this. Man A, man B, man C. Man A wants to kill man C. Man B has got a knife. Man B knows about man A's intention. Man B gives to man A a knife. Man A kills man C. Therefore, man B is implicated. If you pay a single penny of tax in England, have done during the Second War in Iraq, you are liable for a crime against humanity because part of your taxes went to slaughter indiscriminately tens of thousands of people in Iraq, you see. And there's a chap at top legal QC, Queen's Counsel, in the British justice system in London, who went to jail for this. He refused to pay his taxes. And he's been fighting it. Make Wars History is his site on YouTube. Make Wars History. So there are people around who try and go against the flow of the general flow of what mankind gets up to. And I'm one of them. I am a Christian. God is love. I pray for God's guidance as to how to do something about this. Indeed, I pray for it.